Hi, it's Congresswoman Jan Schakowsky back with my plans and pans. Well, this was just some kind of a week. I participated in about 36 hours of a markup. That means when you actually write a bill that gets sent then to the floor of the House in the Energy and Commerce Committee. And this was the Build Back Better plan, or the fancy word, the reconciliation plan. This is part of the bill that comes out of my committee that will be folded into the reconciliation bill, meaning that it can be passed with only a simple majority in the Senate, 51 votes. But first, of course, we have to get it out of the House, and that's what we're doing in the Energy and Commerce Committee, voting on those principles that are under our jurisdiction. So first, let me talk a little bit about what the environmental bills did, just a few. We're talking about investment in green energy, in all kinds of environmental protection of billions and billions of dollars. We want to make sure that we have clean water to drink. Do you know that in the United States, there are literally millions of lead service lines, meaning that water goes through those lead service lines into homes. And Illinois is the #1 state to have these lead service lines. There are over 600,000 lead service lines just in Illinois alone. And they're concentrated in the Chicago area, but that includes many of the municipalities that have old underground systems. And so there's now $30 billion dedicated to removing lead service lines. And I want to tell you, even that amount is not going to be enough to get rid of all of them. We're going to have help from the state and from the municipalities in order to do that. Now, lead, to the extent that it is really serious in quantity, has enormous consequences, especially in children. Brain damage that is often irreversible, lowering of IQs, all kinds of learning disabilities. And so it is very important that we clean up these lead service lines, and now we have a good start with billions of dollars to do that. We also are going to support electric vehicle charging infrastructure so that they become more functional for people, and billions of dollars for air pollution and all kinds of environmental problems that we're finally making a serious investment in addressing. Climate change is real, it's devastating, and we're finally putting real attention to it. So the healthcare programs are also really wonderful. You know, we're spending $190 billion for home and community-based care. We don't have, as I've said many times, a long-term care program policy in the United States. People are figuring it out for themselves when they reach the point that they need care. And I was hoping for, the president had initially started saying $400 billion. Unfortunately, in this bill, it's only $190 billion, but it's a start. It's not only for home and community-based care. People want to stay at home. It's good for the people who need that care, but we also want to help raise the wages of the workers. The average home care worker in this country makes $12 an hour. No wonder there's huge turnover, and no wonder people leave that job altogether. And most often those jobs are done by women, and often those are women of color, and we need to raise the wages and we need to care for the people who want the care at home. So the Affordable Care Act, which we're so proud, made healthcare available to 16 million people, but we know that there were a number of problems, and those are going to be resolved, or some of them at least, in this bill, where we will lower premiums and extend benefits for people under the Affordable Care Act. We're also going to improve CHIP, the Children's Health Insurance Program. We put in $10 billion for community health centers, mainly for their infrastructure. Many of them want to improve their buildings and make them more hospitable for all the patients and the providers. One of the main issues is our effort to lower prescription drug prices. You know, healthcare is really a number one concern, but among the healthcare issues, the cost of prescription drugs is out of reach. You know, we may have some miracle drugs, but if you can't afford them, then they don't work. If you can't get them, you cannot benefit from them. So we had a plan, includes the negotiation for lower drug prices that Medicare would be able to negotiate with the pharmaceutical companies to lower drug prices. Those reduced prices would not just be available to Medicare people, but also to everyone. Americans pay 2 to 3 times more than any other consumers in the world for drug prices. What, are we some kind of chumps? And why do we allow the pharmaceutical companies to get away with it? I would love to tell you that we passed the bill as it was proposed, but unfortunately, we had 3 Democrats join the Republicans, along with Big Pharma, to kill this portion of our bill in the Energy and Commerce Committee. Now, fortunately, it looks like that in Ways and Means that it's passed, and we're going to fight tooth and nail to make sure that we can get this bill passed. What it says is that the price would be pegged toward how much the average of what other countries are paying for this, meaning that we could reduce significantly the cost of drugs that we as Americans have to pay. And I have to tell you, I have been in line at the drugstore when the person in front of me, usually an elderly person, who gets the notice of how much it costs and has to walk away because, I was going to say she, because it's usually she, absolutely can't afford it. We're the richest country in the world. This is wrong, and the pharmaceutical companies are among the most profitable. So we're going to continue to fight to get a serious reduction in the cost of your prescription drugs. I just want to mention the recall for Governor Newsom in California. He won handily, and you know, it's a crazy process there. And we're just happy that people came out to vote to say no on the recall. He won. That's good news. On the coronavirus, the Food and Drug Administration voted against recommending the booster shot that Pfizer has. What they say is that the research shows us that just having been vaccinated, the 2 shots, does provide the protection most people need, although they still recommend that people over 65 and those with special conditions still get that 3rd shot, the booster shot. In Illinois in the past week, almost 26,000 people have been positive for the coronavirus. 285 people died. The bright good news is that 142,000 new vaccines were administered. We are hoping in the next week that there will be some progress on getting the vaccine distributed around the world, really in the form, you might say, of a generic, requiring the pharmaceutical companies to share the recipe and the know-how to make sure that we get everyone vaccinated, and everyone vaccinated here as well, because where the virus exists anywhere, we are at risk everywhere. So take care, everybody. We are heading toward the fall. We still have a beautiful weekend right now, but I hope you are a person that enjoys the a little bit cooler weather and the beautiful colors of autumn. I'll see you next week. Thank you for watching my video. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, where my handle is @Jan Schakowsky.